Yeah, Dr. Jason W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia, just out of the gym. You can see the foil gear and the ocean stuff. There's I'll just show you the bay. Can we get the bay on? No, it's not going to change. I'll swing it. But anyway, I wanted to talk about the new partner. If you've broken up with somebody, and how it's going to go for the new partner, or the new supply, or the new girlfriend or boyfriend. It's easy to work out. If you did the right thing, if you were on your game, if you were being the best that you could be for that person, you set up boundaries, you asked for different particular things, and the person wasn't doing that, and the relationship deteriorated due to the behaviour of the other person, then guess what's going to happen to the new partner? It's only going to be a matter of time. It's only going to be a matter of time before the same withdrawing, the same absence, the same attempt to condition. My last relationship was a competition to see who could stay away the longest. I couldn't make sense of that. Let's see how long we can stay apart, sort of thing, rather than, it was quite bizarre actually. I've never experienced anything like it. Who can ring the less, who can text the least, who can be the least present. And you've got to read these warning signs a lot earlier than what I did. I have to admit I was a little bit slow off the mark that time, but that's alright. You try and work in with people and you try and adapt to people, but then all of a sudden you realise something's not right. Something's not playing out right here, and of course the problem manifested and the rest is history. But don't underestimate what's going to happen to the next person with that person. If they don't comply and yield, because I couldn't psychologically make myself that absent in a relationship, in an exclusive relationship. If the woman didn't want to be exclusive, she might have got away with it, but she wasn't behaving like an exclusive partner. Therefore, I couldn't understand what she wanted exclusivity for, except to be manipulative and controlling around her absent approach to the relationship. And so I don't want to go into all the reasons and for withdrawal and this kind of thing, but after discussions and talks, and no. So that's what's going to happen to the next person. They're going to be treated the same way. It'll just be a matter of time. The old partner might end up on the end of their own behaviour. It's hard to say. There's all different scenarios that can play out, but I wouldn't worry too much about what's going to happen to the person that you've just split up with. It's not a fault of yours, unless, now if it is a fault of yours, you have to take accountability for that. You have to say to yourself, well, I just wasn't strong enough, I just didn't play my role properly, I didn't manage myself right, I didn't apply myself properly. But if you did, I can guarantee you that the person that you've broken up with will end up doing the same thing again, because they did it to you. You were the new supply. I was the new supply. Now, it suited for a while, but as soon as it didn't suit anymore, as soon as the trouble started from her side, she withdrew. She got out. Now, she got out emotionally, but she didn't want to get out physically. You've got to wake up to how they try and keep you in physically, because sex isn't enough. It shouldn't be enough. I hope it's not enough for you. I hope that you're looking for a wholesome caring, dynamic relationship. We had that for 6 or 7 months, and then it was undermined. Now, I don't know if the undermining was deliberate or whether it was staged or what, but it was definitely theatre. It's some of the best theatre I've ever seen within a relationship relative to family members and things like this. It was tremendous theatre. And you know, it's easy to say to someone, I've been separated for 5 years, 10 years, 8 years, 2 years, 1 year. That doesn't mean diddly squat if you can't manage the people in your own house. See, what's the point in bringing somebody from the outside in if you can't manage what's already within? And the poor old person that gets involved is walking into a minefield, and that's what it was. An absolute minefield. So don't worry about what's going to happen to your old partner and their next partner. It's a sand in the hourglass situation. There was no way is anything going to last. How do you think you got into the person's life? How do you think you met the person? They couldn't make it last. So then you were next. You couldn't make it last. I couldn't make it last. So who's next? Can you see? Just goes on and on and on and on. It's heaven 1 minute and hell the next. But it doesn't have to be. By the time you get to our age, 50 heading on 60, you should really have it worked out. But it's a shame when you meet someone that hasn't. And the next thing there's, 12 months down the drain, maybe 12 months, 13 months, whatever it was, all down the drain. And they go on. But do they go on happily? Maybe. A lot of people live in delusion. But delusion's got a way of bringing out the universe and what it wants to do to us. And if you haven't been a properly functioning partner and have gone against the rules of a properly functioning exclusive relationship, then that karma will follow you into the next relationship, and she might find herself on the end of it, or he might find himself on the end of his own behaviour. See how much they can tolerate it. I said to my old partner, I said, you need to be in a relationship with you to see how all this is going down. But I don't think she understood that. That's all right. What's happening to the new partner? Exactly what happened to you. It'll be borrowed time. That'll all look nice and grand on the outside. All this and that. Nah. People are on their own for a reason. I'm on my own for a reason. I'm on my own by choice. I chose to terminate the relationship. It wasn't co-mutual. It wasn't co-agreeable. We were making conditions, but they weren't being adhered to. Don't let your children interfere. Your adult children interfere. They did. She didn't stop it. She didn't know how to stop it. She didn't want to stop it. And it was disrespectful. And you know you're in trouble when they're saying you're being disrespectful and you're not. So, no, the new partner, the new person, they're going down no different to you. They're going down in a relationship that'll have them emotionally starved, sexually entertained, but emotionally starved. The children will turn on that partner. She'll get hounded. She'll get drilled. They'll be all over it, interfering, carrying on their opinion, this, that, and all the other. She'll keep feeding them, however all that works for them. It's just a soup. It's like a big pot of stew. Just keeps stewing while the bottom goes charcoaly. They don't fix anything. They just keep going round and round till the whole thing's just a big glug. And there's the only ones that are left of themselves, and they think it's all great and everything, but it's not. It's just charcoal glug. And you've got to be aware of this. As soon as somebody's not doing what you need or want and have agreed to, you've got to confront it. If nothing changes, you get out. as quickly as you can. Never rush into a relationship with somebody too open-heartedly. You've got to let the person ferment. See, when you ferment a wine, it's going to end up two ways. It's either going to end up good or bad. When you ferment a relationship, it's going to end up two ways, good or bad. But with a relationship, at least you can adapt and change and allow your values for it to adjust. If somebody hasn't got value for the relationship, they're just going to continue to abuse you. Now, we look at abuse by things that people do to people, which is commission. They commission themselves to do things to bring harm. What about the things of omission, where they don't do things? They deliberately don't text but put posts on Facebook. They deliberately don't ring. They just deliberate acts of negligence. They're signs that the person doesn't care. The person doesn't care. If that's happening to you, you've got to understand the person does not care about you. Oh, they'll show up for their goodies. They'll show up for all their, what they want out of you. But then they'll go back to their world and you'll be left standing. So you've got to understand and you've got to appreciate what's going on and what happens and how it all works. And you've got to let that person go. If they're not suiting what you want and you've agreed to it, you've got to let that person go. You've just got to train yourself to be aware of this so that you can go through the trauma and all that as quickly and as soon as possible. This is Dr. Jason W. Morrison, Theologist, New South Wales, Australia. Bye for now.